What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? How's everybody's day going? It is Thursday. Shout out to the chat. I got Stephen B in the building. Jonathan is in the building. Jared Williams, what's going on? Nitin, shout out to my guy, Nitin Ramachandra. And our guest is waiting in the back. Looks like he's ready to go. You ready to go? Give me a thumbs up, man. Let me know. Can you hear me? You might have to reset. You're good. You're good. Do your thing. Do your thing. Make sure you're unmuted. You might have to close out and come back. But folks, Greg Golson's in the back. I think we're just having some technical difficulties, but no worries. I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you all coming in and joining me today. So I'll have him on here momentarily once we figure out the technical difficulties. It's all good. It's all good. But how's everybody doing today? Let me know in the chat. Again, I appreciate you all coming in. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this out with anybody you know. I would greatly appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me. So, I'm on the road to 700 subscribers. The big goal right now is to get to 1,000. Yeah, you're all good, Greg. Take your time there, my guy. Take your time. We'll get you up here in a minute. All right, so he'll be joining us here momentarily. Again, there was some technical difficulties, so I do apologize. Nosebleed section, what's going on? I see Jared Williams, Jonathan, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Make sure you all subscribe. Demon D, what's up? Dev Finch, what's going on? Again, we got Nathan in the building. Stephen B. So what's going on? All right. Can you hear me? All right. You're good to go? Ready to go? All right. I'll bring you up, man. So everybody, let's welcome Greg Golson to the stream, to the live stream. Greg, welcome. Thank you for coming on and taking the time to join us. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. If my eyes are riding low, it's because I got a newborn over here, so we're adjusting right now. If you hear some crying in the background, it's all good.
Congratulations on a newborn, man.
Appreciate that. It's crazy, man. This is the craziest normal thing I've ever done in my life, man.
You boy or girl?
Girl.
Aw, all right, yeah. Cool, man. So just like literally born.
No, so we got out of the tough phase right now. So we're at 7 months right now. So she's sleeping a little bit longer, but she's starting to get a little manipulative. She knows when she cries, someone's coming. So,
oh yeah, you're gonna have your hands full for sure. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Cool. That's great. But again, Greg, thanks for coming on and taking the time out of your day to join us. I'm sure you probably have a busy schedule in your life. So I do appreciate the time, you taking the time to come on and talk to us. And I know you've played in a few different teams. I know you've played in a lot of independent leagues as well. I mean, how did your journey to the sport start? Like, when did it begin? And were there other sports that you played?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, baseball actually started in my backyard. I got a late start to baseball. We were actually playing with some of my dad's old his old golf clubs actually, and one of the heads broke, so I started using that to hit rocks.
Oh, nice.
And my dad was like, "You want to play baseball?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that was when I was 9 years old, I think. So I got probably a 4 or 5 year late start as far as baseball because I didn't do t-ball and all the younger stuff. So he took me out to play that year and I loved it. I remember the very first time I hit a ball hard and it kind of went away. I can still see it. And I that moment is what kind of made me stick with baseball forever.
Awesome. And were there any players that you looked up to, any games that you attended and that's when you knew this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the 90s. So, Ken Griffey Jr. was, the man, he was my favorite player. And then as I got older and Griffey kind of got hurt, it was more into Mike Cameron and Torrey Hunter. I just love the center fielders that could cover ground. So I kind of tried to emulate them in my game, and obviously it didn't get to the success that they did, but I always tried to take pride in my defense.
Absolutely. No, listen, you know what? I mean, you still made it as far as you did. I mean, not many players could say that, right? Because talking to some former players and listening to some former players going through that process, going through the system, I know it's a very difficult process, and you have to really stand out, right? For these scouts to really be like, you know what, we like this guy. Because at any given moment, it's like somebody could take your spot, right? That's the scary part about the sport.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a funny story. I remember when I got drafted, one of the first speeches we had, all the new drafted guys were in the clubhouse just waiting to, get on the field for the first time. And the manager comes out and he's like, I want to congratulate you all on signing your first major league contract, but I want to let you know we're already looking for your replacement. And it was like, oh my goodness, like we haven't even played catch yet,
I know. Yeah.
So, like seeing it from this side now as a scout, like, it's very interesting having the perspective of a player and a scout now, because you really do realize that there could be one thing that a guy does that sticks out in the scout's mind, and it endears that player to the scout, and it makes him want to put a good grade on him. And that could change, that whole player's career just because of one day. So, seeing that perspective is completely changed, like from a player you hear it and you're like, yeah, whatever, anybody could be watching, but seeing it from this perspective, it's completely true.
For sure. And if I'm not mistaken, you're a scout for the Los Angeles Dodgers, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Because
Correct.
I will say the Dodgers, you all do a really good job of developing players. So you all do a good job of that. I know there's a lot of organizations out there, but I know Dodgers are one of them. Now that you're a scout, you're seeing it from the other side now, right? As a scout now, you're like, oh, well, when I was a player, now I understand what the scouts that were looking at me. Now I know what I'm looking for. Now I understand what it means to be a scout. And it's probably not easy evaluating players. And some of those decisions have to be really tough as far as who sticks out. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys that are good, and you're just like, all right, this is a very hard decision. I mean, how hard are those decisions for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think every scout that ends up being a scout has a perspective that they bring, and that's kind of what colors all of their reports. So, having played, obviously my evaluations are going to be a lot more, I don't want to say player based, but it's just going to be, I'm going to draw from my experience. So things that I saw that were difficult when I played, or were difficult for me, or, things that I noticed in my teammates that I liked, those things are going to stick out for me, and hopefully, gives me a little bit of an edge as far as when I write the reports to be able to identify talent a little bit better. But again, like I'm still developing in how to evaluate, just because, baseball is it's so different in that, like, anybody could find something that they're really, really good at, perfect it, and become elite at it, and be a major league caliber player, whether that be hitting home runs, throwing a changeup, blocking, throwing runners out. Like, there's something that can make a team say he's a major leaguer. So, that's been kind of the tougher part for me as a scout, is just kind of like, I don't know, not being so optimistic, I guess, because I do think there is a lot of different untapped potential. And that's why, I love, working with the Dodgers, because our player development is really good.
Yeah. And, that's something I talk about with some of the other, content creators that I stay connected with. And, the Dodgers is one of those teams that we bring up as far as player development. And, again, you all do a really good job with developing players. So, I mean, as a scout, I mean, I'm sure it would, obviously baseball has changed a lot since the time you started, when you left the sport, to what it is now. I mean, how much analytics are you using as a scout, and how much do you have like a blend of the old school and the new school? Do you have like a mix of the two? You find that happy balance?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's a ton of different tools that are available now that I look at and I use now that I'm like, man, I wish I would have had this when I played. Just having the info about like even just splits, about like what guys hit against certain pitches or
Mm-hmm.
Night versus day, home versus road, all of these different ways to break it down, all of those different things. Um, you know, that's just like the surface layer of like the tools that are available. So I try not to get too bogged down by using that too much and try to use my eyes as much as possible. And then, if I find something that, sticks out, then I'll try to do a little digging on it with the metrics or the analytics. But I try not to get too bogged down by the numbers because you can get lost in the weeds doing stuff like that and forget just, I spent 16 years playing, there's something there that allows me to see if this guy can play or not.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, because I just feel like there's a time and place to use analytics, right? Because that it's been a controversial topic,
Mm-hmm.
depending on who you talk to. And I feel like sometimes, and I want to get your opinion on this. I feel like there might be too much analytics in the game, where players tend to overthink, and they're not able to perform the fundamentals and perform the basics of the game, that they're too focused on things like launch angle or spin rate and,
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
are those things that you focus on, or you're more like, I got to put my eyes on the game and get these guys to really focus again on like the fundamentals and the basics, because that's what wins games at the end of the day.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think a lot of the chase for the metrics and the analytics is it's in good faith. I'm not saying it's bad. I just think I think players can get a little too bogged down with chasing numbers instead of chasing results or chasing wins or chasing runs. The actual goal of baseball isn't to hit it with a lot of velocity, it's to score runs. So like you can take that from a pitching perspective too. It's to limit runs, and obviously if you throw it harder, then you're going to make it harder on the hitter. But if you don't throw strikes, you're making it harder on yourself because you're walking guys and guys are getting in hitters counts. So I think there's, it's just like the whole, analytics from my perspective. I think they're great tools to allow people to, dissect the game and try to hone in on certain aspects to get better. But I don't think there's the perfect baseball player, and I think everyone is in search or they're trying to become this perfect baseball player that has no weaknesses when, baseball is about knowing your weakness and using your strength to win still. I think we're losing the beauty of the game trying to chase these superhuman athletes.
Yeah, it's almost like they're playing MLB The Show, right? And it's constant perfection. The guy's
Yeah.
he's going 6 for 6, and this guy's throwing 104 miles an hour
Right.
every single time. Because I feel like with some of the things that I mentioned with the spin rate and stuff like that, for example, you're seeing a lot of these injuries now, right? To pitchers. I'm sure you follow up on it big time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a concern, right? It's a big concern. I feel like these players are, I feel like their careers are being cut short, and in some ways, I mean, I've been hearing that they're putting a lot of stress on high school players now. I've been hearing a lot of that too. And to me, it's concerning, so, I guess how do you keep these guys from, not focusing on these, like, some of these metrics, and it's probably hard, I can imagine.
It's tough. I mean, I think it's an endless cycle, because it's tough. It's easier to teach a guy to throw hard than it is to teach a guy to pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And both those routes to pitching, whether it's chasing velocity or being able to command it and pitch. Both of those routes are effective at getting guys out. I think velocity is sexier, so it gets a lot more notoriety. And if you like being on leaderboards and you like going to big Power 5 schools and you like possibly being a draft pick, it allows you to have the opportunity to do those things. But I think the guys that locate and stuff, they kind of have to prove it at every level, so they kind of get undervalued. So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough to ever walk it back because, like if you throw hard, you're going to get seen. That's just the truth of the matter.
Right. Yeah. And that is the case, because that is what the attraction is throwing hard and throwing 101 miles per hour. You're seeing that with like Mason Miller. He's the big attraction right now. So, guys like that, to me, that I don't know, that just tells me danger. That's danger. I get the attraction about it, but as far as
it's the same as like Aaron Judge. Like Aaron Judge is what, 6'7"?
Yes.
Like, and he plays at Yankee Stadium where if he mishits it and he's late, it's a home run to right field. So like I equate his size and natural ability to a guy that throws really hard, like Mason Miller or Paul Skeens. Those guys are rare talents. Like no one else is gonna be like Mike Stanton or Aaron Judge. So their swings and the way that they operate and do things is unique to them. So like, I see a lot of amateur guys trying to swing like Judge, and it's like, man, I'm looking at your parents. They're both, 5'11" and 5'7". I don't think you're going to be 6'7". So I feel like it's better to work on like a swing and learn how to hit so that how you are as a baseball player. And that way you have the variety in the game that's going to allow not this boring game where it's walks, home run, strikeouts, walks, home run, strikeouts.
Yeah. And, Aaron Judge he's just a giant, you know what I mean? He's a player of his own caliber.
Yeah.
And you're not going to duplicate that. So, that was one of those things with like, for example, last year with the Yankees, right? You talk about Aaron Judge, everybody was trying to hit the ball out of the park, right? You take a guy like Anthony Volpe, he's constantly just trying to swing for the fences. It's like, no, you play to your ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like not every ball you hit has to be hit out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you're more of a guy like get on base, get your hits, and create those opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Like having been in the perspective of hitting, especially in a big moment, like it's tough to not go up there and try to be the hero and hit the long ball,
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about the player that can formulate a plan for the situation to win this situation, like, I don't know, like seeing guys hitting behind the hitter or like recognizing that they're shifting and hitting it in a way that their spray chart doesn't typically show. Like to me, that's going to be what separates a lot of guys now, just because the pitchers aren't locating as well. So the guys that are able to manipulate the barrel, like those are the guys that are going to kind of be separators. Like the Luis Arias right now, like no one thought anyone would ever be able to put the barrel on the ball like him. Like it was like Tony Gwynn, Ichiro. Okay, that's the last of those guys. And now he comes in and it's like, I don't know, he's found a way. And I wouldn't teach his swing to any kid, but he does it in a way that is unique to him, and he does it at an elite level. So I think that's what baseball needs, is those unique talents that, might be a little unorthodox, but that's what's the beauty of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, all solid points, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to get back to you a little bit, right? As when you were a player coming up, I mean, you played for a few different teams, right? You played for the Phillies, you played for, the Yankees, you played for the Texas Rangers. You were on that 2008 Phillies team.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that year was a good year for the city, for the team. They won, they won the World Series. That was a great team that you all had. You had Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Shane Victorino, you had Jimmy Rollins. I mean, there was a lot of great talent on that team. What was it like just playing with those guys? Like and was there like a favorite teammate that you had?
I mean, when I got up in 2008, I had seen those guys in spring training, for a month or so, but I had never really played with them except for I was a late August call up that year. So, when I had gotten called up in 08 with the Phillies, it was more of I was in observation mode, trying to get out of their way kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, we had a shot to win the World Series. Like I'm some rookie on a call up. When the rosters expanded, I was trying to have a little bit of, baseball savvy and be seen, not heard when I was there, but the guys that went out of their way to make sure that I was, felt welcome was Ryan Howard for sure. Jimmy Rollins for sure. JC Romero for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was just there was a bunch of call-ups that we all hung out anyway. So there was, me, Lou Marson, we hung out all the time. We got drafted together, and we basically came up from rookie ball. So I was always around him when we were in Philly as well. But I wouldn't say I had any favorites. It was just such a blur. It was August to the World Series, and then after the World Series is when I got traded. So it was about 2.5 months of just whirlwind, and then I was a Ranger. So looking back, it was such a blur. I wish I would have taken advantage of my time there a little bit better and established myself as a contributor to the team as opposed to, a wallfly. But the experience that I had was definitely memorable.
That's good, and I'm sure those guys, the guys that you mentioned, those guys took good care of you. They taught you a lot, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then like you said, you got traded to the Texas Rangers. What was the experience like there? What was different with the organization back then? Because they had a good team in that year as well. Yeah. So I mean, they had some great players.
So 2009, I got traded to the Rangers at the beginning of that year, and they had a loaded outfield at the time. Mm-hmm. Marlon Byrd had just almost won Rookie of the Year with the Phillies when I was there, and then was with the Rangers when I got traded there. So I remember when I saw him the first time, he was like, "Oh, what's up?" He welcomed me, but the outfield was stacked. I mean, Nelson Cruz was there. Julio Bourbon was there. I mean, there was probably 8 guys on the 40-man roster that were outfielders when I got traded to them for John Mayberry Jr.
Yes.
So when I got to the Rangers, it was kind of it was a fresh start. It was a completely different league. I had never even played the Rangers, so I didn't know anyone that was there. But growing up in Texas, it was kind of refreshing to be, put the T on my, on my chest or on my head, because it felt like I was playing for the hometown team. So I only got up with them for about a week, and it was on the road. I didn't even get to play in Arlington, but I played most of my time with the Rangers in Oklahoma City, which is actually now the AAA for the Dodgers.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I know Oklahoma City very well, just because it was when I was trying to all right, establish myself as a Ranger. So it was I got a place downtown and was trying to get a routine and do a bunch of stuff to get myself acquainted to a big league life if I was going to be in Arlington. But obviously that didn't work out that well. But yeah, going with the Rangers, it was very. It was a little more laid back than the Phillies, just as I guess as a style or culture, but equally as good people. It was just different going and playing for a Texas team.
Yeah, I hear. Well, you play. Well, Philly. Philadelphia, I mean, it's a big city. It's a big sports town, especially when it comes to baseball and Phillies. I mean, the fans are wild too. As you would
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
compared to Texas fans, yeah, I'm sure the fans and the atmosphere, the culture in Texas is definitely more laid back. It's kind of that southern,
Yeah.
that southern
Mhm.
feel, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I can understand that because you went from Philly to Texas Rangers, and then you went to the Yankees.
Yeah,
So
back
I'm
up,
like,
back up northeast.
oh my goodness! I'm like, what? I was like, so many changes for this guy. I
Yeah.
was like, so you're going from like one extreme to the other. I mean, uh, for the Yankees, I mean, did you play for them at all? Or were you just on the?
Yeah. So my role with them when I would get called up most of the time was it would usually be when A-Rod would get hurt. So Ramiro Pena was the extra infielder on the bench. So they didn't need to call up an infielder when A-Rod would get hurt. So they would call me up as a fifth outfielder and like defensive replacement and base runner for Swisher pretty much. That was my role. Whenever Swisher's last AB, if he got on base, I'd run for him. If we had the lead, I'd go in on defense after he got out. So that was my role with the Yankees, and I did that for basically 2 years. So most of my time in the big leagues was with the Yankees.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Again, it was you played for three really good teams during those times, and all three of those teams were stacked. I mean, did you like being playing for one of them more than the other, or did you enjoy each one? Or
There's no really saying I like one more than the other. I wish I would have got more opportunity with any one of them, but seeing as how all of them were in the playoffs during those times it was just kind of wrong place, I guess right place, wrong time, or wrong place, right time. I don't know how you would say it, but if I had been playing for a team that didn't have so many potential Hall of Famers, maybe there would have been more at bats for me. But I can't look back at that in that way. I really enjoyed my time with the Yankees just because I feel like I got to meet some of my heroes and like Derek Jeter and Curtis Granderson and a bunch of guys that I just looked up to. But I wouldn't say I had a favorite team out of the three because you work your whole life to get to the big league. So it was just like I was floating when I was playing for all of them.
Yeah, so each team brought something good to you. So there wasn't like a favorite team that you liked playing for, and there was no worst team or anything like that, right? It was
No.
That's good, man. Because
Yeah.
You listen, if you listen to former athletes, sometimes it's one of those things where, oh well, I like playing better for this organization than than this other one that I played for. It was not great. It was just a toxic culture. Like, you hear these types of things, but I'm glad that, each team that you played for, it brought something good to you.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately they give you a jersey, they're giving you an opportunity, to do something really, really, really special, So, when I get to the big leagues with them, they obviously hold me highly. So I can't look back and have like, I don't know. I guess I've distanced myself enough from my playing days where I can look back and not be bitter about the teams that I played for and, the opportunities that I got because, I feel like I played my hardest, so I can't really look back and have any ill will.
Okay, good. So there's a few people asking questions. I'm going to get to a couple of questions here. So we talked about you transitioning into scouting. So Ken is asking this question here, saying, Mr. Golson, Billy Beane started his career and the player, then transitioned into scouting. What is your ultimate goal in baseball?
That's a good question. I got asked this question in an interview.
Interesting.
After I retired, and I didn't know how to answer it, and I kind of view it the same way that I viewed my playing career. I just kind of want to be where I'm useful, And, if that takes me to, where I'm at right now and I'm the best scout, then that's awesome. If it's something else, farther down the road, then I'll take that route. But I don't have any grand plan at the end of this. It's kind of just an experience. Baseball's been able to, in the words of Sammy Sosa, baseball's been very, very good to me.
No doubt. No doubt. It seems like it's been treating you well, and
Yeah.
you seem to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly you're a scout, so you're still very much involved with the sport, and for an organization like the Dodgers. So I mean, you're not. I'd say you're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and I got a couple of questions here that it's the same. I got two people asking the same question. So they're talking about you gunning down Carl Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk about that, what was that like? I mean,
it was cool because I had visualized throwing him out at the plate before I went into the game. I was like, sports psychologists always talk about visualization, how it helps, your body perform in the moment when your mind's eye has kind of seen it happen already. So I was visualizing myself throwing out Crawford when I got in the game because it was a pretty close game. So when I got into right field, I was throwing with Granderson in center field, and I had asked him I was like, hey, let me throw with Gardner because Gardner was a little farther over towards the line. I could throw it a little longer. And I wanted to get my arm a little looser. So I remember there was a bunch of different times. Like I've watched the sequence of events that happened before it happened, but there was 3 times when Crawford could have been out before I got the chance to throw him out. So it was almost like it was meant to be type of thing. But I remember he took off to go to second, and Posada put it on the bag, but when Jeter went to tag him, the ball came out.
mm-hmm.
So he was out, but he ended up being safe. Yep. And then I think he didn't tag up on a fly ball to center field. And then Joyce came up and hit the ball that I ended up throwing him out. But I just remember when I threw it, all I wanted to do was keep it low because the turf was going to help me. But when I threw it, it came out of my hand, and I thought I overthrew it. I was like, this is the end of my career. Wow. I was like, this is it. This is the end of my career. But I saw Jeter kind of lean back, and A-Rod picked it perfectly. Like A-Rod is the unspoken hero of that play because that hop that he picked was, I mean, that was not easy to do. But I just remember throwing it and seeing it and everyone jumping up and running out. And I was like, this is crazy. And then again, it was a blur again. I gotta get a little bit more present in those moments so I can remember them a little more.
No, you're good, man. Because I actually remember that, but it's been so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, I do remember that. So, and I remember, reading up on it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was like, it's been a long time, but I was like, it's kind of coming back to me. So you kind of brought it back. You definitely brought it back to me. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, and throwing out a guy like Crawford, I mean, who was an excellent player himself. I mean, that had to have been a really good feeling for you, man. That was just like, you probably couldn't sleep that night, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, my phone was keeping me from sleeping pretty much. I got back to my phone, and there was like 100 missed calls, like 200 missed text messages. Like, I mean, all of Austin, Texas was watching that game for some reason, and it happened to be like a pretty big moment. So, I mean, and what was cool about it was that was in Tampa. So, that's like Yankees' second home. So it was packed as well. And I see someone said that Cold Italian Pizza said that throw ended the game and put the Yankees back in first place. Like, yeah, that was such a cool moment for me. I don't think we ended up winning, like keeping first place, but I just remember it being like one of Mariano's saves. Like, there was just a bunch of people that were on the field during that highlight that I'll definitely remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right? Because every player remembers moments of like when they first stepped onto the field or the team that they played for, who they played with.
Mm-hmm.
their first hit, they remember all these things. So, you throwing out Carl Crawford was probably a big moment for you. So, I mean, I'm sure that's something that you'll probably explain to your kids, and I'm sure you talk about it with your players that you're scouting right now. I'm sure you tell these stories, man. So I can't blame you, man. It's a great moment to have. A question that was asked here, and this has been a hot topic this week. Angel Hernandez. Obviously, he retired this week. That's everybody's favorite umpire, and that is sarcasm. What are your thoughts, man? Because umpires, they have their moments, right? So,
I mean, I had a ton of plays in my career that I feel like I can remember every single one of them, where you remember the umpire's face, you remember everything about the umpire in his worst moment. And it's kind of unfair to them, I will say. I don't want to be an umpire apologist here, but like you see them like when they do a great job, you don't notice them, So, the only I know as far as outfielders go, the only time outfielders talk to umpires is when we're complaining about something, because we're all the way out there and it's either we get a bad call or we get a bad call on the bases. We're never just saying, hey, how you doing? So I always made it a point to, when I was running past an umpire going out to the outfield, that was the first base or the third base umpire, to say what's up or say hello. But I do think I don't know, eyesight is one of the things that is proven to go as you get older.
True.
But a lot of these umpires are older, So I'm not being an ageist or anything. I'm just saying that when it comes to guys that are throwing harder and harder, and the margins are smaller and smaller between winning and losing a game, I just think I know that they're going towards the automated strike zone, and I was one of the test players of that in the Atlantic League in 2019.
Okay.
And it was it definitely wasn't. It definitely had some kinks in it, that needed to be worked out, and that was why they did it with that independent league teams. But it was I don't know. It was like one of the places that we played at. The sensor was off, so the strike zone almost had a home field advantage, where the umpire, if he heard the beep, he had to call it a strike. So if it was, at some place where the plate is off or something's off, and it's this far off the plate and this far down, but he hears the beep, he's got to call it a strike. I mean, there were times when the umpire, like the catcher would catch it, and you would hear the umpire say, "Sorry, Greg," and then he'd call the strike, because he just knew like he had to call it, but it was nowhere near the zone. So to answer someone's question, that was when I decided I needed to retire.
Yeah.
But I think the umpires are a part of the game. That judgment aspect, even though it sounds super like old timey, like it's a part of the game. And I think I just think there should be some type of review for umpires that kind of, you poll the players and you poll all the players, and if this umpire is consistently rated as the worst or the worst attitude or something like that, then you can have a means to kind of make the whole field better. But I don't know, like as far as Angel Hernandez goes, he never called me out or missed a call on me, so I can't say anything about him.
So he's good in your book then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it's a name that's been mentioned many times, and we always talk, amongst us fans, we always say, yeah, if you're an umpire and we know your name, that's probably not a good thing. So
right, exactly.
You talk about the automated strike zone. I mean, now Major League Baseball is talking about robot umps, right? Umpires are a part of the game. I don't know about you. It doesn't sound like you're very keen on having the automated strike zone or the robot umps because technology doesn't always work,
Yeah.
and
Well, where I question the how you can have a robot umpire is on the up and down of the strike zone, because even without, I guess you would just have to have a more clearly defined top and bottom of the strike zone. And are you going off of the player's stated height? Are they measuring the player, and then like, because a player who stands up tall, he's going to have a bigger zone than a guy who squats down low. So I just feel like there's so many variables that come with a robot umpire system. But I don't know, I've seen some things that AI can do and it blows my mind, so I don't want to like be the guy that's saying, oh, it could never happen. But it confuses me on how you can have a defined top and bottom of the zone when you've got players that are 6'7" and 5'6".
right, like Aaron Judge, for example, how many pitches does he get that's like below his knees, and they call it a strike because
Right.
umpires can't even adjust the strike zone to his height,
Right.
and you get a guy like Jose Altuve or something, and
Exactly.
like on the opposite end, right? So, and how does and like you said, how does it work if you bring a robot or an AI? How do you determine that? Because that could cause a lot of problems. I like, for me personally, as much as sometimes I get frustrated with these umpires, I'd much rather have the human element in the game.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather be a human be wrong than a machine be wrong. Because if you're just going off of a machine, I feel like it's gonna really throw the game off, and it's gonna. I don't know. I'm not for it. I understand what the attraction is, but
they did a system in the minor leagues that was really cool that I've liked, where they do the challenge system, where it just kind of shows on the jumbotron where the pitch crossed. So it has the technology in place, but they're not depending on it to call balls and strikes. It's just like a challenge in football, essentially. And I like that. And especially when, like, I think it was at Columbus where they did it, where it was really streamlined. It didn't slow the game down. You could tell that the crowd was into it. It just kind of added an element that was entertaining, and it was like you got the call right. That's the main thing, is you want to get the call right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that, and I don't know if you watched Ken is asking a question here about the game from last night with the Yankees and the Angels, and there was that infield fly rule. Yeah. And then there was that double play in the first inning. Something similar like that happened with the White Sox and the Orioles. I mean, I guess he wants to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, the thing about umpires is they are taught to be like as by the book as possible.
Right.
So like when there is, like with Soto trying to get back to the base, like I see it from all perspectives here. The ball was kind of drifting in the air, so the infielder couldn't get under it. Those balls come down crazy. It was coming down right under the bag. Soto was trying to avoid him like initially by not getting right back to the bag because he thought it was getting on the bag. So when it ends up being closer than Soto thought and the infielder thought, they collide. It just seems like that's a situation where it's like, yeah, sucks. Someone's going to get hosed here, mm-hmm. And it's going to be what the most definable interpretation of the rules is going to be. I don't think it sucks for the Yankees.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, just trying to be from like an unbiased fan, right? Yeah. Just trying to look at it as just a fan. Yeah. I mean, I understand why they called it a double play, but at the same time, it's like, how does this guy get back to second base when he's being blocked? Does he go around him?
Yeah,
because then he would be called out if he did that, right? So,
I mean, there's one play. Here's another example of a play like that.
Sure.
And I have to look up the rule because I was furious. I'm hitting, runner stealing, I swing at a pitch that's not a strike in the dirt, so I chase. I'm in a bad position, so I'm reaching out over the plate. The catcher tries to throw to second base. I get called for obstruction. I'm out. The runner has to go back to first, and I'm like, it wasn't even two strikes. Like my at bat's over. The guy who had the base stolen has to go back, and I just remember thinking like, this is a stupid rule, and the umpire was like, I know. He was like, I'm sorry, but that is the rule. So I couldn't when he explained it like that, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like there's nothing I could do there other than not swing at such a bad pitch, but that happens. But I saw it in the game the other day where the guy swung at a pitch that almost hit him and he fell out over the plate and the catcher tried to throw over, called interference. Same thing had to happen. Batter's out, runner had to go to first. So I think it's just those plays where it's like, yeah, it sucks, but that they had to put a rule in place, and this is one of those times.
I know, man, and there's so many rules. Again, from the time you played and now with the rules that are implemented today. I mean, do you see like a lot of the contradictions with these rules? I mean, it just seems like a lot of rules are a little controversial.
I would say, I mean, it's kind of like I don't know, like what when was it? What is it? NBA, the big three that has the hot spots that are worth more or something like that. Like it's a rule that's everyone knew beforehand, so it's not something that like surprises anybody. I just think they had to have something in place so that, I don't know, so that when a time came up that they could go to it. But I don't think it's like a dumb rule. I think they just needed something there.
I gotcha. And while we're talking about the new rules and the new things that have been implemented to Major League Baseball, I wanted to get your thoughts on, Major League Baseball adding the ghost runner, making the bases bigger, the pitch clock. If you wanted to touch up on those, and how, if you were playing in today's game, how would you feel about that? Like, how would you? What would you?
As a base stealer, I would love it. I think it encourages base stealing. There were times when, pitchers would just pick over multiple times over and over just to get you tired. They know that they're not going to get you out, but they, like diving back to the base over and over and over. After a while, your lead gets shorter and your legs get tired and you're just not going to run. So that was a tactic that was used, and albeit not that much, but there was no limit to how many times could throw over. So now when there's a cap on it, you can see guys using that to their advantage and kind of getting a one-way lead and making the guy burn one pickoff so that he's only got two to work with. And you see how that's implemented into the game. Part of my job as a leadoff hitter and earlier in the count batter was to distract the pitcher, get on base and make him think that I'm running, even though I'm not. Right. So, adding the element of a stolen base, I think it's very exciting for the fans and for the game. I think it's boosting a lot of people's statistics, obviously, but the bigger bases, I think that's going to have an impact that we'll see after a couple of years of statistics. The pitch clock, I thought I was going to hate, but I'd love it. It didn't have as big an impact on the game as I thought it would, like the quality of the game, other than like cutting out all the dead time. Like I remember playing with the Yankees. Those games were so long was one because they were on TV, but because every player had like something that they did as their like signature thing, and it took time, so a lot of that got cut out with the pitch clock. So it made the game a lot more crisp. I just think a lot of pitchers are struggling with the pace because a lot of people, whenever they're in stressful situations, they just want to slow down. And that's just people in general. So to put a time limit on pitchers, some of which who got to that level without having a pitch clock, it's kind of unfair. I wouldn't say unfair, but some guys I think are impacted by it, and I don't think it's talked about.
So with the pitch clock, because I know it's 18 seconds, do you think they need to raise that?
No, I think it'll adapt. It's just again, it's one of those situations. It just sucks for the guys that it's negatively impacting. Because I think you look at the guys that are coming up, they're all doing it, and they're all going to get used to it. And I think like if you look at the length of games over the past 2 years, like it's clearly working. I know, as a scout, I used to not ever be able to eat anything after games. Everything was closed. And now, the games, you have a chance to actually eat like an actual dinner after games. And I know that's a big driving factor to people going to the ball game is like having something to do afterwards and not just going to the game, it dragging, and then it being 10:30 and you have to go home.
Yeah, no, that's a valid. Those are all valid points because again, these are all like from a fan perspective, a lot of folks are they're not in favor of some of these things, but hearing it from you as a former player and just looking at it because you're involved in the sport still, you have a different view and a different perspective on it. So it's good to get different opinions on this. Mm-hmm. So, and you like the idea of the ghost runner at in extra innings, or would you wait after the 10th inning? What's your thought on the whole ghost runner thing?
I mean, I'm kind of torn on the ghost runner.
Okay.
Just because, like, does that run not count to the pitcher if it scores? Like I'm asking an honest question. Like, does it not count? Does that guy that scored, that won the game, not count to the pitcher that's on the mound? Like, these statistics, are they diluted a little bit? Like, I just think I definitely think it's going to end. Like, you're never going to see the 20 inning game anymore. Because it's so, I wouldn't say it's easy, but if you get a runner at scoring position, like a big league lineup should be able to score within 4 chances of getting a runner at second with no outs. So, like, I think it definitely speeds up the process of finding a winner, but I just think it kind of dilutes the statistics in the process.
Yeah, and for that pitcher, it's an unearned run, right? Because it's not, that run's not going to count. So, I get the whole putting the ghost runner on there. Because there's been games that I've watched and it goes into 13, 14 innings, sometimes even longer, and I'm just like, I can't stay up. I'm like falling asleep here. I gotta go to bed, man. Like I gotta, I couldn't stay up for games like that personally. Another thing with these games and trying to speed up the games is again from fans' perspectives, right? Some fans have talked about this. It's like they, spend money on tickets to go to the game. But then, they want to go to the concessions to, get some drinks, get some food. And then before you know it, it's like they just missed 2 innings of baseball.
It's very true.
Yeah. So, I feel bad, right? And I feel bad for fans who feel that way. But, I don't have an answer for fans as far as that goes. I mean, it's unfortunate, I guess, because these things are here to stay. I know they're not gonna go anywhere. And I know with Major League Baseball, whenever they implement new rules or they make rule changes, it seems like it's here to stay, and it's going to be very hard for them to change that. But the one thing, there was another rule that I've heard. And they were talking about playing less games, but is that a rumor or that high? Yeah,
I don't know if that. I don't know if there's any smoke behind that. I don't think that would help. Like, I think the length of the season is like, that's the test to the team that is getting to the playoffs. Like.
Yeah,
you got to do it. And just like you said, you can't walk back too many things that they've implemented. I think there's too many teams in the playoffs. if the season's going to be 162 games, then there shouldn't be half the league make the playoffs.
Yeah, because there never used to be the wild card, and there never
No.
used to be all these other playoff games, right? So now you're adding extra games. So on top of that, so I like the idea of 162 games. Yeah, it's a lot of games. It's a long season, but I just feel like if there's less games, I feel like they'll lose viewers. I think it'll be bad for business. So
I think if they wanted to shorten the season, they should do more planned doubleheaders where, you'll play every month, whichever the ballparks can do it however they want, but just do it their least I don't know, their opening that gets the least amount of fans, they do a doubleheader on that day and be able to just kind of knock out something, I don't know. I don't feel like they should shorten the amount of games though. That'd be lame.
I would agree. I wouldn't be in favor of it. But like I said, whether or not we agree with some of the rules being implemented or not, it's here to stay. We just have to, we got to accept it, right? And not just the fans. You guys, the scouts, the players, the coaches, the managers, all have to adapt to this. And I don't know how you all do it, explaining these types of things to players and making them comfortable with these new rules, and how do they react to these things in your experience?
Who, the scouts?
Like the scouts, yeah. You as a scout, like how do you respond, and how do you
just to the new rules and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously before it happened, when it was implemented, everyone had their opinions on it, and for the most part, most of the scouts that I've talked to love the pitch clock.
Okay.
It's just kind of like, I don't know, if you can't do it in the amount of time that's allotted and everyone else is doing it, then that's just another separator. It's hard to get to the big leagues, and I think putting restraints on stuff like that, it should be doable for guys who are trying to be the best and the most elite at what they do. I'll just put it that way. Like, it's not that hard to just get a routine that gets you within the constraints of that time limit. I'll put it that way.
No doubt. Okay. And before we continue the conversation, I just want to be respectful of your time. How are you doing on time?
I've got to head out here in probably 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just let me know, man. Again, I want to be respectful. Again, folks, I got Greg Golson here with me. Greg, appreciate you coming on again. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this out with anybody you know. I would greatly appreciate it. And Greg, again, thank you for taking the time and chatting with us. Ken asked another question here. You probably could see it on your screen. Mm-hmm. He's saying recently the Dodgers sent down James Outman and the Orioles sent down Jackson Holliday. Why do you think these high-profile players are being sent down to the minors?
I think it's the same reason guys got sent down for ages. I think because of social media and how things go viral. I think when players get hot in the minor leagues, or they get onto the scene and they have success, we want to crown them as like the next big thing. And again, like, it's hard to stay in the big leagues. It's hard to get to the big leagues, and it's hard to stay, because especially now with the amount of data and the amount of information they have on every person, like, as soon as you swing in a ball in the dirt, everyone knows it, and they know, okay, he might chase balls in the dirt. So every team is going to try that. So, I think guys get sent down because, it's not a secret what, Jackson Holliday and James Holliday were struggling with at the major league level. So now when they go to the minor league level, at the AAA level, guys aren't going to have the stuff that they have at the major league level, but they still know how to get them out. So, doing it at the AAA level, it'll get them an opportunity to work on those things that everyone knows, in a setting that isn't as spotlights and magnifying glasses in major leagues where people are wanting to win ball games and you're not contributing, to the level that you could. So I think, it's not necessarily, obviously, especially in, Outman and Jackson Holiday's positions, it's not like the organization is saying we're souring on you. It's just saying, hey, we need you, like get some ABs so you can iron this out type of thing. Because, there's no question that Jackson Holiday is going to figure it out. Same with James Outman. It's just, the major leagues, once they find out how to get you out, you better be able to adjust to it, or they're not going to switch up if you're still getting out just constantly.
Yeah, it's a tough business, right? At the end of the day, it's business. So you better, you have to have your A game. You got to stand out. You can't slack off, right? For even half a second. You got your A game's got to be on. It has to be there at all times. Doesn't matter what's happening in your personal life. You got to stay, laser focused. And I know that can be real challenging at times. So I do get that. I take it you being a scout now versus you being a player. You're probably enjoying what you're doing right now, clearly, and you don't have to have like a lot of away time from your family. You get to spend more time with the family even now, right? Where as opposed to a player, you're on the road and you miss out on a lot of events. But I'm sure life is so much easier now doing what you're doing, and getting to just enjoy being a scout, spending more time with the family.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to worry about chasing sliders in the dirt anymore. And that's like definitely a headache relief. But yeah, especially having a baby now, got married right after I retired, and then COVID struck. So, as soon as I stopped playing, that was kind of like definitely the end of a chapter. I don't know. I really, really enjoy, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Like, I just kind of really enjoy all the opportunities that baseball provides, like as far as any individual, like even now with the Dodgers, there's so many different walks of life that are, in I guess so many different walks of life that are contributing to, what the Dodgers do. And it's super refreshing just knowing that, like, you can make an impact, if you're good at what you do. So like, it's kind of cool being able to still be able to impact the game, even though I'm not playing.
Yeah. You could, right now, you could contribute in many different ways, right? So even if you're not playing the game, which is, still a gift, and I would say, right. And, again, I know you were with several different organizations in Major League Baseball, but you played a lot of, in a lot of the independent leagues too. You also played in some of the leagues, one of the teams in Mexico. Was it easier playing for like those independent leagues as opposed to Major League Baseball? Was there like less pressure on you to perform well or play well?
When you get in the moment, you're just on a baseball field.
Right.
I don't think, you play 140 plus games a season for, 16 years. Every ballpark is kind of the same, save a couple bad hops here and really bad lights there. But, I would say that it's more, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was your question?
No, you're good. More or less, like, was it easier playing because you played for a lot of different like independent leagues, and you played in Mexico, so
I'd say there's
easier?
Different challenges at every level. If you're playing at Yankee Stadium, there's camera crews around. There's beat writers around. There's people wanting autographs at all times. There's way more vendors. There's just way more people. So the stuff you've got to do to plan your routine before your game is a lot different than when you're in, I don't know, Venezuela, and you don't have the beat writer, but the fans are, inches away from the dugout, or, you're not getting the same amount, you're not getting the same pre or post game spread, or, there's just, there's just different factors that go into playing at different spots that just kind of make people thrive or not. I think some players thrive in not indie. I guess I'd say indie ball and abroad because it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's so much structure in the American game. Even like guys hitting home runs and pimping them. Like that's frowned upon here. It's starting to lighten up a little bit, but you do that in other leagues and it's like it's understood. It's okay. It's not even an issue. So I think some guys thrive in those environments where they can kind of let loose a little bit more, where other guys need the structure of the American game. So I liked playing everywhere just because again, like I was just kind of taking it all in. But I enjoyed playing in indie ball because it was playing at the minor league level. It's a lot about developing as an individual, whereas in indie ball, like there's no like higher team. Everyone's trying to get signed in indie ball, but the only way you get signed is if you win. You got to win. If you don't win, then you don't play as many games. So when the focus turned back to winning, I remember it's like I fell in love with the game again, as opposed to on the minor league side before, where I was so focused on like dissecting what I needed to do to my game to make myself better. I was focusing on what I needed to do in this situation to help the team win. And it sounds so cliche, but I don't know. It just made me really enjoy the game a lot more. So, from there, I wish I would have had that mindset when I was in affiliated baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point it was too late. That was like 2016. So
Right.
I used all of that stuff to play in Mexico and in Venezuela and in the Dominican and extend my career a couple more years. But the lessons that I learned in indie ball, I wish I would have known earlier.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you live and you learn, right? As a player, I'm sure the learning as a player, as a scout, I mean, it doesn't stop, right? There's things that you're constantly trying to learn. You're always trying to adapt because the game and the sport, I feel like, is constantly changing. So you have to roll with the times, right? Depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So are you quickly able to adapt to those things, or does it take you a while, or
adapt to
like just the constant changes in the game? Because the game is in general, like players changing their performances, like it's
I mean, it's kind of like you look at if you pull up my baseball reference, you can see so many different teams that I played for almost year after year. I'm used to change, I would say. It's kind of something that you kind of got to embrace or kind of get ran over type of thing. As far as the rule changes and the changes in the game, like everyone's going to debate on if it's good or bad. But the game's going to keep going on. You're going to find guys that adapt to it, and you're going to find guys that find excuses to not like it. But I think ultimately, as long as the rules are played by everyone, I think you're not going to have any issues.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're it's time, right? Again, I want to be respectful, man. I could keep going with these conversations and the questions, but I always like to be respectful towards our guests. So, Greg, if there's anything else you want to add, where people could find you on social media, if you wanted to share.
Got nothing, man. I'm just out here doing my thing,
All right, man. I respect that. Well, Greg, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us and giving your perspective of the game and your experiences. I always like to hear from former athletes and just getting their perspectives of the game. So again, thank you for coming on, and I do wish you the best on your future endeavors, and I hope you continue doing your thing as a scout, man. And I would love to do this again when the time is right.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know, man. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.
All right. Have
Bye.
a good one. Alrighty, folks. Thank you all for coming on. Hopefully, you all really enjoyed the interview. That was a fun interview. That was a really fun interview. I mean, he's a really, it looks like he's a really laid back guy. He seems very easygoing. I really enjoyed that conversation. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. Thank you for the questions. You all asked some great questions. So excellent questions. Man, I will say I've interviewed a bunch of players this week, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna do. Nathan, go ahead. You should have the link. Go ahead and jump on, my friend. It went really, really well. It went really, really well. And real quick, I want to send a shout out to my guy Izzy Devo. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. He sent a $1.99 super chat. So greatly appreciate your support. Any support that's given to his channel is greatly appreciated. So I thank each and every one of you. Nathan, if you want to jump on, feel free, man. I could send you the link again if you want. Just let me know. And I saw in the chat, several of you have posted this. So Clark Schmidt placed on the 15-day IL with a lat strain. That is unfortunate. I'm not going to get into panic mode yet. So let's hope for the best, right? Let's hope for the best. Let's see what the Yankees do. So, this is going to be a test for them, right? So, we don't know what they're going to do now. So I'm actually going to go to their X page and see what we got here. Okay, so looks like they placed Clark Schmidt on the 15-day IL, retroactive to the 27th with a right lat strain. So they have recalled Cody Morris from AAA. So that's the corresponding move. All right. So look, it happens, right? I mean, let's say it like this: the Yankees aren't the only team, that suffer from injuries. There's a lot of teams right now that are suffering from injuries. So it is what it is. So what can you do? What can you do? Yeah, no, I saw a lot of you post the Clark Schmidt news. So I appreciate you guys doing that. It's unfortunate. And yeah, Brad Beater and Poteet are also on the IL. Yeah, so I knew Beater was on the IL. I know he had a shoulder issue. I did not know about Poteet, but I do appreciate that. So actually, let me try to send this link here. To Nathan. I know he asked if he could come on, and I said he could. I thought he might have had the link, but I'll send it to him again just in case. Yeah, it would have been cool for them to. It would have been cool for the Yankees to call up Will Warren, but I know he's not doing so great right now. So Morris is probably the better option here. Cool. So Nathan, I don't know if you're still in the chat. I did send the link to you. So yeah, whenever you're ready to come on. But yeah, we'll see what happens, you guys. I don't know how you all are feeling about this injury to Clark Schmidt. Listen, I'm not going to get into panic mode yet. It's just a bump in the road. That's the way I'm going to see it. All right, the Yankees are doing just fine. They're still playing great baseball. I don't think there's anything to panic about. So, yeah, this is true. At least it's not an elbow injury, right? If it was an elbow injury, forget it. We would, there would be. Yeah, but I mean, listen, I would love to give Will Warren a shot, but I don't. He's not playing well right now. So. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I guess you could say it does give him a break, but you know, how do I put this? I mean, at least the injury could have been worse. At least there was notice. He said something. The training staff may have noticed something, or maybe when he was pitching, the coaches noticed something. So I'm glad it's being addressed. I'm glad something is being done about it. So, yeah, not the news that we wanted to hear, but again, it happens. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's just hope for the best. That's all we can do. So I'm just kind of looking around to see if there's any other updates, but from the Yankees. But I got Nathan in the backstage. You ready to go? Cool. I'll bring you up here. So everybody, let's welcome Nathan, the man and his team who's been getting these players set up for interviews and getting me these interviews. I appreciate you guys. I mean, you all over there at NR Media do an amazing job of getting these interviews set up and having these connections and these good relationships with these athletes, man. So these players. So it's been great. Nathan, I know times are a little tough for you right now, but just know that our thoughts are with you and your family. And we appreciate all the hard work you put in. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Tomorrow's a funeral and the cremation tomorrow from 9 to 12. And I sent you the link if you want to check it out and see it. But first of all, thank you everyone, whoever's in this chat. Thank you guys for sending all the prayers and and all the condolences for my grandpa and my family. And thank you. You guys are the best. Yankee fans are the best, and especially NFE, man. He's NFE is killing it right now, and I'm glad that my team and my team that can help him out and get all these people that we're connected with to be on his show too, and then also to have you guys interact with these players. That's the main thing. The fans interacting with these players and getting a chance to meet these players on live. And so this is a great job. And we got more coming soon, so stay tuned. And our team is working on it. But thank you. And Clark Smith, I think we just announced a event with him, but the what do you call? There's a time conflict. July 20th, they will have Carter coming on the same day, but I just don't know because the time there's a big time conflict going on right now. But right now, as of right now, I think Clark Smith is booked for July 20th at the Woodbridge Brewing Company, but I don't know yet. It's just devastating to see what happened to Clark Smith, and now hopefully it's nothing serious, but now I guess they we got to see what happens not from here to now from when he's from the 15 day IL. So we got to figure out. They have to see what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I mean they are calling up Cody Morris from AAA, so that's the corresponding move. And Schmidt's he's on the 15-day IL, retroactive to the 27th. So we'll see. Hopefully it's 15 days, and when he comes back, he comes back healthy. There's no like setbacks, right? We hope there's no setbacks for him. I'm not going to be in a panic mode yet. So, the Yankees are, they're still 19 games over 500. They're playing exceptional baseball. I think this is just a bump in the road. A lot of teams are experiencing many, many injuries. So the Yankees don't even have the worst of it. So, hopefully Clark Schmidt can heal up. He can come back healthy. Like I said, it was retroactive to the 27th. So on this past Monday. So if everything goes according to plan, he should be back the week of, the week of June 10th, depending on how things play out. So let's just hope for the best. Let's just hope the Yankees can continue winning games. But that's all we can hope for. And Nathan, I mean, what are your thoughts?
First of all, to keep everyone updated, I just deleted the flyer for Clark Schmidt for now because apparently there's a to give people updates. I know there's Rangers. So by the way, big game for the Rangers. Let's go Rangers and
That's right.
Yankees. But Chris Kreider is coming to whoever's in the New Jersey area. Come to the Woodbridge Brewing Company. That's where we do our events at. But July 20th, Chris Kreider is coming from 5 to 7, and then July 21st, same thing. He's coming both days. But the problem is now there's we have some Clark Schmidt. We're trying to book Clark Schmidt somewhere. But it said the flyer they put July 20th for some reason, so they got to fix. So I deleted the flyer for now. So fans just stay tuned. I don't know what Woodbridge is doing. I think they have to fix some things, but we'll keep you updated. I think Clark is close to getting Clark Schmidt, but I think they messed up on something. So just to keep fans updated.
Yeah, because you're all on that same date. Chris Kreider is coming.
Yeah. From
the New York Rangers, and that same date it happened to be also Clark Schmidt. So you all are just trying to figure out those dates. Okay. Yeah. So folks, if you're in the New Jersey area, scratch the Clark Schmidt
for now,
right? They're trying to figure out the dates. They're trying to figure out the logistics on that. So once they figure that out, Nathan will keep us updated with this stuff, man.
To answer your question, Clark Schmidt has obviously been off the charts this season, and we already seen what he can do, and that's a big loss. But if you, we have to see what kind of injury. A strain is it's not that bad. Nothing is obviously not that serious as a elbow inflammation, which is
true.
Yeah. So they just have, I guess, to be honest, the way they're playing and the offense is playing, and the pitching should be fine. Now this gives a chance for the younger pitchers like Cody Morris or whatever his name is, and you got now Nestor Cortes will have to step up, and all these rotation guys have to step up until Cole comes back. And I wonder now, do you think they should get? I wonder now. Everybody's asking me this question lately about Will Warren I feel like he's ready, but I think this is time for his chance to get up pretty soon from Scranton. So it'll be interesting to see how long Clark Schmidt will be out. I don't know, but the longer he's out, I wonder if the Yankees will consider Will Warren.
Well, I heard that Will Warren is not pitching well right now.
Right now, yeah, that's the thing.
So I don't know. I don't know if he's ready. That's the thing. I mean, of course, that's an answer that the Yankees can answer themselves. But I'm hearing that he's not pitching well right now. I would love for him to come up and fill in those shoes, but they're calling up Cody Morris. I know, somebody in the chat, I think it was Brad that put in the chat that Cody Poteet and Clayton Beeter are both hurt too. They have some injuries right now. So, I would have loved to see Cody Poteet or Clayton Beeter come up. That would have been great.
Clayton Beeter deserves his chance. Also, Beeter is a stud. I'm telling you right now, that was a steal when we traded Joey Gallo. We covered Beeter at Somerset. This guy has some nasty stuff. Beater.
Yeah, no doubt. I saw Beater pitch during spring training. I like the stuff that he had. I feel like he's better suited as a bullpen guy than as a starter personally. But that was a steal, and the Yankees have done a lot of acquisitions with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They've made a lot of trades with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers do a good job of developing players. So I mean, that organization does well. And I was talking with Greg Golson about that. So kudos to them.
Greg Golson, he's the best. How did it go, by the way, with Greg Golson?
Oh, the interview was amazing, man. It was good. He was really like laid back, like real, like easygoing. He seems like a very like soft-spoken guy. So, I really I thoroughly enjoyed the interview. Like with all these players that I've talked to this week, and even talking with guys, with Kevin Mensch and Joba Chamberlain, they all bring a different perspective to the game. They all have their own experiences. So, everybody's perception of the sport, of the game, it's different, right? Because everybody has a different eye for it. And that's the thing I enjoyed the most, is that not everybody has the same eye for the game and the sport. They all have different experiences, and those experiences vary from player to player. So,
Greg said he loved it, and then he said he can talk baseball forever.
Well, yeah, and I know, because before he left, or before we continued the conversation, I asked him. I was like, "Hey, man, like, I want to be respectful of your time, because I know, towards my guests." I was like, "How are you good on time?" And he's like, "I got 10 minutes." I was like, "Cool. Like, we'll chat it up 10 more minutes," and we did. We chatted it up 10 more minutes, and I was like, "I could talk to you all day about a lot of things," but I was like, I said, "Hey, we'll do this again next time." I said, "Well, I'd love to get you back on." So sounds like he's down. So, sometime in the future, whenever that may be, it'll be cool to get something going. And I know you and your team are working on some other guys right now. So, you guys are constantly working, like getting these interviews, setting up these events, man. It's like, it's nonstop, man. It's nonstop.
It's, I mean, obviously with all the things going on right now with my family, you got to, my grandpa would not want me to stop working. He would want me to work. And obviously now he's looking above me now, and he's proud of me, and seeing what I'm doing, and he wouldn't want me to stop the work. He's always when he was, I don't know if you saw this the article I wrote about him, my grandfather. If you guys see the article, read the article, and I wrote a really his life was really amazing and really inspiring in the way he was. And he worked hard in his life.
Yeah, I know it was like a short little biography about your grandfather. I did read it. It was great. It was great to read, man. It sounds like he lived quite the adventure. Let's put it that way. He's been sounds like he's well traveled. He's been all over the world. It sounds like he's had a lot of different life experiences that he's been able to share that with you. So that's cool, man. That's cool that you have that inspiration that your grandfather gave you, and it sounds like he was a big motivator for you in life.
Oh yeah, he was. He gave me so much advice throughout life, and thank you, and thank you again for the prayers and condolences, everyone.
Yeah, always, man. You know how it is. You already know how it is, folks. Like when somebody we know loses a family member, we want to support them, and just know that we care, and we want to be that, we have the heart. We got good hearts, and we just we'll never just know, like, for me personally, it's like, hey, if you need to talk about anything, dude, like I'm a phone call, text message away. Like, hit me up and be like, hey, I gotta let some things off my chest, because sometimes holding things in, it's not always healthy. So sometimes it's good to let out those emotions, bro. It's a healthier outlet than holding it in. So just understand that, so, and that goes for myself to everybody else. Yeah, if anybody is ever going through some struggles or troubles or whatever, man, like, just know that I myself, like, I'll listen to you. I'll read your text. If all you want to do is vent, cool. Like, I'll I'll sit here and be quiet, and you could talk away, man. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing with me. So,
Kenny brought up the stats here. Okay, yeah, there you go. He needs a little bit more time, and I don't know why he's struggling. We had him on our show on a couple. I think it was last year.
I remember.
He was a great young kid, and he's a hard worker. For some reason, I don't know why his numbers are down this year, but hopefully they fix it for him, and I want him to get a chance with the Yankees.
Oh, I do too, 100%, man. I really want him to get his chance with the Yankees. I'm just hoping that with his performance right now, it doesn't have to do with the fact that he lost a job to Luis Hill.
Luis Hill, that's another one. That is Luis Hill is a stud.
He is an absolute stud. The guy has just been raking it away. I mean, last night's game, he 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He gave up just 1 run. He has a 1.99 ERA. The month of May, he pitched to a 0.70 ERA. I mean, these are just like some incredible numbers. New York Rangers, that's right, man. Let's go. Let's go. Hopefully, if I know nosebleed section, I know you're a big hockey fan. So for any of my hockey fans, if you're Rangers fans, let's go Rangers. Let's hope they could go up 3-2 in the what do you call it in the series.
Stanley Cup. Semifinals.
It's the Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, sir. But let's hope Will Warren can improve, right? Because I would love to see him up at the majors. So we'll see what happens. Baseball is a funny game. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, talking to all these athletes, I mean, each and every one of them tell you it's a tough sport. It's a tough business. So, you gotta be on your A game at all times. I mean, you have to be laser focused. So
speaking of guests, our team is obviously working on Johnny Damon. They're working on David Huff. You remember David Huff, the Yankees pitcher, the lefty?
David Huff?
Yeah.
It definitely rings a bell. If I see a face, I'll probably remember him.
Yeah, they're working on him. Obviously, Kyle Farnsworth, Shannon Stewart.
I remember Shannon Stewart. I like Shannon Stewart.
Oh, he was on our show. He's a great guy and a great player too back in the day. Also, Greg Vaughn is another name.
Oh, how funny! I brought up Greg Vaughn's name to Jim Lawrence when he was playing with the
Padres.
Yeah, how funny.
Hey, and then also they reached out to they reached out to Kyle Kendrick. He was on the show, the former Phillies pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
They reached out to Jeff Nelson. We had Jeff Nelson on the show.
Oh, Jeff Nelson would be cool. That was another name that I had in mind. The other guy that I was thinking about was Graham Lloyd. I don't know if you remember.
I know you want your boy Bernie. We're working on it. Just
take your time with Bernie. I know Bernie's busy, so I get it. Bernie's a busy man. That's probably going to take a little bit more time. I'm being patient with that one, man. All good there, Nathan. All good. I appreciate you guys, but let me know about Bernie, dude. That's my guy. So,
and then another name that we are connected with, we had him on the show. Also, Luis Lopez brought him up yesterday. Jeff Fry. We reached out to Jeff Fry for you guys too.
Jeff Fry, okay.
Yeah, Luis brought him up yesterday on your show, I think.
Jeff Fry. Yes. And Ken is saying Curtis Anderson.
I know. We're trying. Let's see what happens there. Nick Swisher. We're trying to Matt Joyce. We reach out to.
Swisher would be cool.
Yeah,
that guy is full of energy. But actually, looks like the lineup is out for the Yankees. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull that up right now. Actually, on the screen. Let's see. And I will be wrapping it up here shortly. So
let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers. Let's go Yankees. Let's hope the Yankees can win the series tonight against the Angels. So I know
I think they're back in the garden, right? Yeah, they are back in the garden.
they should be playing at the Garden. Yeah. So let me pull up the lineup for tonight's game. Let's go here. Stephen B is asking, could it be possible to get Torrey Hunter from the Twins? I saw him come up at the Rock Cats.
Well, let me tell you a funny story with Torrey Hunter. So I had to. Okay, so now I used to have 14. No, I used to have 14, 15 people on my team. Now it's down to 12, and apparently someone. So one day I was like, I think it was last year. I was busy, so I had people controlling my Instagram and my social media, my other social media that day, and then apparently they over messaged Torrey Hunter. One of the persons over messaged Torrey Hunter, and then he ended up blocking the page.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I found out by someone else, and then I had to get rid of those people whoever over messaged Torrey Hunter.
That's frustrating. I'm sorry, man. God,
sorry too. Yeah. So the person over messaged them or him.
Jeez.
You can't do that. I mean,
yeah, you got to be. I mean, you got to be respectful of their time. I mean, they'll respond when they respond, and if they don't, I mean, what can you do, right?
Well, yeah. So now let's Greg Vaughn and hopefully some other outfielders. I'm trying to see if our team can bring on Andrew Jones for you because we had Andrew Jones on our show also.
Yeah, you know what? I really liked Andrew, or it's Andrew. He pronounces it Andrew. Huh?
Andrew Jones, I think.
Okay, I thought it was Andrew, but either way, I really liked having him. I really liked watching him play when he was playing the game. So he was awesome.
What are the reactions on the chat in the chats to that story?
Which story?
With Torrey Hunter, the one I just mentioned.
There's no reaction yet, but that was Stephen B who asked that question. Stephen B, hopefully you heard the answer from Nifton here. But real quick, let me pull up the lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me do that real quick. So yesterday was interesting because they batted Giancarlo Stanton at cleanup, and Verdugo was batting fifth. So looks like it's the same.
Volpe, Soto. Okay, yes. One thing about this, the one thing I love about Boone this year, he's been consistent because Volpe is Volpe should be your permanent leadoff hitter. That's no question. No matter what, just keep him in the leadoff hitter. And I liked his lineup tonight. It looks good.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, they moved up DJ LeMahieu, so Volpe is leading off. Soto is batting second. That hasn't changed. Judge batting third. Giancarlo's hitting cleanup. Verdugo batting fifth. DJ's hitting sixth.
Yeah.
So interesting. We'll see what happens with that.
Torres. Okay.
Torres is batting seventh. Trevino at the dish.
So he'll be batting eighth. That's my guy right there.
Oswaldo. I have Oswaldo Cabrera's autographed card. So that I won in a duck race that Frank Luna was giving out. And it looks like Mazza's here too. And real quick, Ken, to my friend Ken, Austin Wells is not playing today. Hopefully that puts a smile on your face, sir.
Ken doesn't like Austin Wells?
He's not a fan of Austin Wells.
Oh, that's my guy right there. Austin Wells.
Oh, man.
Dude, stop hating on my players, Ken. No,
Ken's a good dude, but yeah. So and Carlos Rodon is pitching, so hopefully we see a good performance from him. So this is the lineup. So our boy DJ is batting sixth there. Train.
I see that. Is our favorite DJ hater in the chat today?
I don't see him. I didn't see him, but I did.
That's a shame.
When the lineup came out though on Twitter, he proposed his trade package on the comment section on the Yankees comment section. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And yeah, Ken is saying he wants Austin Wells to be part of a trade package for the Cardinals.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
For who? Wait, Ken, for who?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Actually, Jonathan brings up an earlier excellent point. There is no Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
So LeMahieu's playing first. Cabrera's playing. Rizzo needs a day off anyway, so let him sit.
Interesting.
Yeah, let him sit.
Yeah.
Finally, he gets some rest. I agree. Nosebleed section. Yeah, but what's up, Mazza?
I don't know if you saw in the group text the picture I sent from American Family Field. Because I was at the Brewers game today with my buddy. And we were sitting in the bleachers. Yeah. Great atmosphere. Great stadium. I'm going to tell you, my buddy and I got to watch former Yankee catcher Gary Sanchez hit the game-winning home run in the 8th.
Wow, that is wild. That is wild.
We're what team is he on now? Sanchez?
The Brewers.
Oh, Brewers. Okay.
Yeah. So that I hear the Milwaukee Stadium is nice.
He's on Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It is. It's a great atmosphere. I'm actually going to Wrigley tomorrow, and then I might go to Progressive the next day.
Good, man. Heck yeah, why not? I mean, you're already traveling across the country, so have at it, man.
But I'll tell you what, though. For all of you who have not seen the Brewers Stadium in person, it is definitely a great experience, and you should definitely get a chance to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Actually,
go ahead, Nathan.
Sorry. Speaking of former Brewers, actually, our team is working on bringing a former Brewer on your show, Corey Hart. We had Corey Hart on our show. Yes, and then we also had Tim Dillard. That's another Brewer. Yeah. So the Brewers, they told us a lot of great things playing with Milwaukee. They said the fan base is the best. And then Corey Hart talked a lot about Sabathia when he was in Milwaukee, playing with CC there, the Yankees. So they talked a lot about the fans and all the players they play with, and they said it's like a family-oriented organization in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems like the Milwaukee fan base is pretty cool.
You don't think of the Milwaukee fan base as like this big fan base, but they really are. They are really passionate about their Brewers, and it's really cool to see how the Brewers and how they are around around other Brewer fans. And when Craig Counsell came out of the dugout to make a pitching change, he got booed by the Brewer fans.
Oh wow!
So that's something to think about as well.
That's crazy.
But it was a great game, though. So
yeah,
but that's pretty cool that you guys are working on Corey Hart.
Yeah, Nathan, before you came on, I was saying, Nathan and his team, dude, they're constantly just like working. Even with the stuff that right now.
Nathan and his team are absolute legends.
Yeah, they're killing
They are
it,
absolute legends.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mazza.
I mean, and even with everything that you're going through, man, it's remarkable.
And by the way, I want to give you guys a shout out again to all the people in the chat, Mazza, NFE. Thank you guys for the prayers and the condolences to my grandpa.
Absolutely, brother.
Tomorrow's the funeral and the cremation. Tomorrow from 9 to 12, and I sent NFE the link to the YouTube for that thing if anybody wants to see and join in also. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you.
If I am not driving tomorrow, I will do my best to get on.
Look, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. But I had Greg Golson on just a little bit ago. He was awesome, dude. That was great. I hope when you get a chance, feel free, watch it. Every player that I've interviewed this week, they all have it's like I was telling Nathan, they all have like different perspectives to the game. They all have their, they have different perceptions when it comes to the sport. They all have their takes. So, with each of these guys, I was talking about the old school and the new school with all the rules being implemented, all this stuff. I mean, it was just cool to get their thoughts on it. You know what I mean? So, they're really. I mean, athletes at the end of the day. I mean, they're humans. They're human beings at the end of the day. So, they have a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings as well. They're not. They're not. I don't want to say they're not any different than us. They're still different than us, but I'm saying they're still human. So, there is that. But it's been great interacting with these guys, and I'm looking forward to interacting with some more. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these guys are really knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Great to hear their perspective on it, and their perspective on what's going on. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, me. Oh, sorry. Me and my team, the players that we're giving you, and then that we had on the show, we learned a lot from them too. They talk about a lot of stuff in their lifetime playing, and obviously family. They love. They love the one thing we learned. Building trust with these players. It's all about building trust with the players, and once we build that trust, they trust us, and they trust us enough that we invite them to other people, so like yours and like that. So when we let them know about the T show, they said, "Okay, let's go. Let's go on." And that's what I like. But when they have time to go on other people's show, so
yeah, it's cool that these guys take the time to come on other people's shows.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks to who they are.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would love to talk to Cece because I think that would be someone to really
yeah,
because
it's
he was always in the thick of it.
Yeah, we've been. My team's been trying to get CC on the show for a while, but he's always busy. Yes, I'm always yeah. But hopefully at some point we all can CC.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We'll in due time, things will work out. I always believe that. So, you just gotta, just stay positive at all times and just do the best you can. So that's all we can ask for.
Ken hasn't answered our question, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Helsley and Kidder for Cortes and Wells. Ooh.
Okay. Hold on a second. I think
he got Nathan thinking.
Yeah, Ken. Wow. Yeah, I think these are two. By the way, Hensley and Kidder are pretty good. These two players are pretty good. Let me bring up their stats real quick. Let me see. What's the first thing? Where's Hensley at? Oh, yeah, Ryan Hensley. So let me see. Okay, he's 25 games, 2-2 with a 2.52 ERA, 25 strikeouts. And then you got what? Kidder?
Yeah.
Let me see. Where's Kidder?
Yeah, and see, CT Cards is saying Ken keeps mentioning Nestor getting traded, and he's had me really thinking about it for the past 2 weeks.
Where's Kidder?
I mean, it could happen.
It could, but right now Clark Schmidt is hurt, so that's retroactive to May 27th, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably be back like the week of June 10th, somewhere around there if everything goes according to plan. But I don't know about you, Mazza. It's like I was telling Nitin and the rest of Kitteridge.
Kitteridge. Oh, hey.
Andrew Kitteridge.
Yeah, so it was like I was telling Nitin and I was telling the chat, I'm not panicking about
I'm not either.
Yeah, there's no reason to panic. So
I also don't think there's any reason to trade Austin Wells. I'm kind of not going to like hearing that.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
But I don't think there's a need to trade Austin Wells. I think you've got to give him a fair shot before you start trading guys like that. Now, if you've got guys who you cannot play because they're blocked, I'm okay with trading them. But to trade a guy, just to trade a guy for a piece, doesn't really work.
I got to get you and Ken on the same open panel here so y'all could just talk about Austin Wells because yeah, go ahead.
It'd be like Stephen A. Smith arguing with something.
Yeah, because I will just sit back with my popcorn and my drink, and I'm just going to have you two go at it, bro, because I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the show, and not to mention you're Navy, he's ex-Navy, so wow. Have at it.
Yeah, really. That's fantastic.
And by the way, thank you both for your service.
Not a problem. No, that's actually a funny idea, though. I like that.
Yeah, I would love for that to happen. Ken, if you're still in the chat, I think you are, but you and Mazza, I want you guys on this show and on my show and other shows too. Maybe you guys could start your own show, your own segment, and then talk. The first segment, you talk about Austin Wells. Oh, I was so
they could, there's a show called The Nightcap. You guys can do the morning cap.
And a fee. All you have to say is, and we're off.
Yeah, and we're off, exactly. So, because I know Ken is saying to himself right now, Austin Wells could kick rocks and could get bent. So,
yeah, well, you know what? Now that you brought that up, I know we didn't do it last on our first episode, but we do need to give my buddy a shout out for that.
We do for the logo.
Really kick-ass logo. Nathan, I will send you that logo so you can see it. My buddy from high school, Dana, he's a good friend of mine. No, I'm not kidding you.
No, I'm laughing at the comments. I'm laughing at Ken's comments.
Jesus, Ken. Off the rails.
Oh my God.
All right, but before I go, our team, speaking of events, Clark Schmidt, we're trying to work on getting Clark Schmidt for an event at the Woodbridge Brewing Company, and also our team is working on getting Ron Guidry and Jalen Brunson for an event somewhere. So stay tuned.
Yeah, like I said, Ken or Nathan. Yeah, Nathan is trying to he's getting a lot of players and events going on. I mean, him and his team are doing an amazing job. So just keep it up, man. Keep it up. It's awesome what you guys are doing. So greatly appreciate all of your guys' hard work. So keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let's go Yankees. Let's go Rangers.
Let's go Yankees. Let's go Rangers. Yeah, I'm gonna close this out, you guys, because I do have to get going because I gotta go attend a couple of events. So, Nathan, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. I'll get his comments later there. Ken, he has left, so I'll see what he thinks about your proposed trade. But folks in the chat, thank you for tuning in. It was another great show, great interview. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for doing what you guys do best. This is it was another great interview. It was great interacting with all of you. And Ken says Austin Wells is a kick rocks topic. Listen, we will. You know what? For one of those shows that Mazza and I do, you're coming up, and we're gonna have this discussion. You and Mazza are gonna have this discussion about Austin Wells. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
But anyway, folks, I appreciate you all coming on. Thank you for coming on. I'll see you all next time. So look out for any news videos that I might put out. I will go live again on Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see all of you there, and appreciate everybody's support. Thank you all, and see you all next time.